you doing? Welcome to another thrilling adventure in Hibachi Talk Land. Thanks for joining us this week. Sorry we weren't around last week, just been a little too busy to put it together, so we did a best of, and we appreciate you continuing to watch the show. Grab yourself a libation and towels, come up and sit down and join us today. I'm Gordo the Tech Czar, and I'm here with my buddy.
What's up, brother?
Andrew, the security guy. Nice to see Andrew back.
Right on.
Always flying around the world and all this wonderful stuff. We got an interesting show today. We have Christine Lanning. The last name sounds somewhat familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you know, she's a
my boss.
The president and co-founder of Integrated Security Technologies.
Mm-hmm.
She has a very interesting career in tech. She's going to talk about leading Hawaii to a safer place.
Right on.
And we certainly need to do that. But before, we got a couple things we always like to do beforehand. But the first one is, I was waiting up all night for 2 nights for a phone call. The Letterman show is over, and I thought for sure they were going to pick us up.
You weren't sleeping because of that?
I was set, man. I was there, and I was going like, I know we're going to be a lot more affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and we have a great crew. It would have been just awesome.
They should have brought us up at least for an episode. Why didn't even get a tryout call?
We didn't even try. I mean, I'm really just disappointed. Anyway, so we'll see what other rookies they put up there. Then they'll know they'll miss us.
We should send some outtake. Can we get outtakes? Zuri can make like outtakes, right?
And we'll just
we have a few good moments.
That's true. And we have Zuri. Speaking of Zuri, we have Zuri and Emily here today, helping us with the show as they do every week.
Thanks, ladies.
So thank you very much, ladies. So anyway, there's a lot going on, but maybe what we should do first is, got one tech job.
Okay.
You want to do that one first?
Let's take a look. What do we got?
Let's take a look and see what we got. Andrew found this one. I just love this one.
Oh, is this the...
This is great. You know, you're at the gym all the time. So you just take a team, and then you got Taiyum.
Well,
so, obviously, these were made in China. It's the only thing I can say.
I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand. They don't know how to spell, but I don't know how did they reforge that? I don't even get how that happens.
Yeah, I can't even begin to think about how it's like the last one we had the American flag that said made in China. So anyway, thanks. We continue to get more of these sent in. We have 2 or 3 stockpiled now, so I'm looking forward to.
We have some funny ones. Thanks for sending those in.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool. So
how was flying? Were you nervous? You know they're hacking planes now.
Yeah. So it's funny you should ask.
Oh.
So we got our friend Chris Roberts, right? You know him or know of him?
No, I do know his attorney. And I know there was quite a bit of discussion at PSA Tech with that hacking group up there. Who they know him. And
so for the viewers, Chris Roberts is the guy that has allegedly stated that he's done in-flight hacking of the navigation system of aircraft while he's on the plane.
Power system.
And in the power system while he's on the plane. By tapping into the entertainment system, by plugging in a custom cord that he built underneath the underneath the seat. So he's being, and he's tell me, you have a little bit more background on this guy.
So it's CAN bus, typically the same way we were talking about hacking vehicles. So it's a CAN bus type system in an aircraft. I mean, as far as I know, I'm not an engineer on that at all. So my understanding is he was able to bridge from one system to the other, and allegedly he injected some code and powered up, one of the engines a little more
than what he should have.
Yeah. So that basically, I mean, obviously, I think the guy obviously was a researcher. And he's been documenting this stuff, and then my understanding is from the conversations we had up there that he is just, I think maybe got a little bit frustrated with the airlines not paying attention to this threat, at least, and it's a pretty esoteric hack. It's not like something you or I could do. He's been doing this for like 8 years working on this stuff. So I think he just got a little frustrated, and then to tweet out that he's injecting code, obviously, I mean, that's a cry for Help Me World or Beware World or whatever. So
while he's on the plane.
He had to know what was coming.
I'm taking over this aircraft and I don't know how to fly it from seat 13B or whatever it is. And so it throws some doubt in there, but at the same time, it just kind of elevates your consciousness of what's going on.
Well, the fact that someone would say they could do it, there's a lot of negative people in the world that would like to do harm to others. So the fact that they might try to attempt it now and end up breaking more planes, who knows? I mean, can they really pull off a hack like that? Doubtful. Yeah. But can they damage other systems or cause us to be delayed on the tarmac or whatever? Like obviously the pilots are going to know when things are being tampered with, right? So this guy's able to stay under the hood, but the other guys probably lights will go off, and then you got to go back to the terminal, and then your flight's delayed.
And all that wonderful stuff.
Yeah, it's just a mess, right?
But the thing I thought was interesting, according to the articles that I've been reading, the FBI actually went on the plane and went to the seat where he was sitting. They actually went underneath the seat, and there was one of the control boxes underneath there, and they said it had been tampered with. Now that, tampered with, whatever, but I'm thinking, okay, wait, we know how roomy these seats are.
Yeah,
right?
13B, maybe it was in first, I don't know.
I can't fold myself in half to get underneath to be able to look at that.
You think he was in first?
Yeah, you think, well, yeah, it could be he's in first
13B,
class.
right?
But
So
even
maybe.
then, who would not notice? Who would not notice that you're doing this?
Yeah, well, the plugs underneath, like sometimes, where you
Yeah.
power your laptops.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, maybe he's leaning around like this, whatever. But anyways, it's turning out to be an interesting story.
Did you think about it when you were flying?
So, funny you should ask. We're in Los Angeles. We're coming back from Los Angeles a couple days ago. And the day before we left to come back to Los Angeles, and I'm not afraid of flying. I'll fly, it doesn't matter. I've flown all over the world in aircraft that should never have been allowed on the tarmac. So, and it was the day before they rerouted one of the aircraft. I'm not going to name the airline, happened to be the one that we're going to get on. And they had to do an emergency landing in LA.
Oh,
And so
okay.
now the return flight was the one that this was coming back on, but the next day. So we get on the plane. I'm not thinking anything about this, get settled in and so on. And then the plane backs up and then starts to move out onto the tarmac, and I'm reading about Chris Roberts and all this stuff, and it stops. Yeah, I mean, you can't write this stuff. It stops, and I'm saying to my wife, I said, oh, we're not moving, and we're not moving for a reason. There's no reason we're sitting there as long. Pilot gets on, sorry, we have to go back into the gate. We have a computer problem.
And you unplugged your cord and
I went, well, I'm in the computer industry, can I help? So we went back in there and they said, oh, we'll be 15 minutes. You know that, but 15 minutes was like
2 hours.
An hour and change later, we ended up leaving. But it was just one of those kinds of things, all coincidental and everything that can happen.
Well, and I think that, that this is the part that to me is sort of interesting, is that the indicators, right, are sensitive on an aircraft. They really are. I mean, they're checking everything all the time, and so that's why they get those lights and bugs, and they're very safe. And so for this guy, for whatever he was doing, for them to not know he's doing it up in the cabin kind of concerns me.
Yeah.
And or my understanding was he worked with the airlines or had consulted with the airlines too, so maybe he was supposed to be there doing that. And I just don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know the
he
full
had,
detail.
if he had done some work with the airlines and such, he had some inside information on what was going on.
I think so.
So he had information that you and I typically would not have access to.
Yeah, and he had to build a way to do this. It's not like a USB that he just plugged in to do this hack. So this is an engineered thing that somebody's worked at long and hard on to try to figure out if it could even be done. And of course, I think the FBI is pretty interested if it can be done, right?
Very interested.
They met him at the plane.
Yeah, they met him at the plane, and
I met his lawyer. His lawyer was just shaking his head,
attorney,
going, "Chris, what were you thinking?"
Yeah,
like,
what you're thinking about this. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting story to follow over the next number of months to see how it unfolds. Now, we spend a lot of time talking about security, and when Christine comes on, we're going to talk about, what's happening to make Hawaii a safer place. But I had something interesting happen for me today. I had to go buy solo cups because we're autographing these by the thousands. Well, by the dozens.
They're on mantles all
That's
across
a lie.
the world now.
Anyway, by the thousands, no, by the dozens. Now I've gotten down by the tens. So we're autographing these by the tens, and so I had to go buy solo cups. And I go to Walmart, and I go to the credit card to swipe it, and I swipe it, and the girl comes over and goes, "Oh no, you don't swipe the card anymore." "Oh, really? So she said, "Turn it around." I said, "No, the stripe is this way." She said, "Turn it around, and underneath it, you put it in this way, and it's now reading the
chip.
The chip.
Yeah, EMV.
First time I've ever had
Nice.
run into a store where they're now using the chip as the mechanism to determine the use of this credit card.
The card,
No,
sure.
have you used that?
No, not in North America.
Yeah, so it's my first time.
In New
Yeah.
Zealand,
And
but not in North America.
Yeah, Europe. I've done it in Europe. I've done it in Asia.
Yeah, so they're mandated, right? But I think by 2017, the U.S. has to be
has to do
completely
that.
done.
So I mean, my hat's off to Walmart, and we know,
Yeah.
a lot of people have heartburn about Walmart one way or the other. I like the ones that make a lot.
At least
of
they
noise.
have solo cups.
Yeah, I know, and solo cups, and they were on sale. So, but so the fact is that they're moving forward with a lot of the newer technology. What I should get, I'm bringing on the next show, is that they come up with a new electronic truck that they're using. Walmart is. It's a electronic truck, tractor trailer, to keep their costs down. And they've designed and developed this tractor trailer truck that's totally electric
For freight.
for freight.
Oh, oh wow. Okay.
So it's a
Interesting.
kind of an interesting, technology piece that they've got in.
So it must could haul enough batteries to make it to do
Maybe.
long haul because it's
Yeah,
sure.
something
Okay.
so, but they were
Good.
talking about it, and it's
Wow.
all how it's been engineered.
That's
But
awesome.
I was impressed to see we're finally found some lease company, organization that's using a newer technology to help us secure what's happening.
Well, and I was reading that that's who's really pushing the autonomous driving is the freight business, right? Because of the drivers are limited, and so if trucks can go 24 hours a day without having to have a driver, then commerce can happen at a better pace. And
Yeah.
so I heard that. I didn't realize that they were behind it. I thought it was more university driven and consumer driven, but it's actually the freight industry.
It's the freight industry. So, we come back to, the technologies and everything. So I got all kinds of LA stories. I was there for a week, and, there's a drought there.
Yeah.
Right? Major drought, and there's warnings everywhere. They've taken down the click it or ticket signs, and they put up signs saying, conserve water, don't water your grass, brown grass is good, yada, yada.
Wow.
Beautiful sign. And I was driving, so I couldn't take a picture, but right on the side, the sprinklers are going off like crazy.
Oh, really?
So you've got the government sprinklers going off like crazy, signs telling everybody to conserve water, and there isn't one single plant on that road, hillside, nothing.
Oh,
It's
so what's the
dirt.
water, just
It's dirt.
keeping the
and
dust
it's got
down?
Tires and all kinds of stuff. So I'm thinking, well, couldn't they have a little computer system that would just shut off that water system and say not use it?
Yeah.
But, so another one. The other thing I saw, which has nothing to do with, well, it has to do with security, but not cybersecurity, anywhere where there's not anywhere, almost anywhere where there's a traffic sign, they were getting tagged. And now the poles have got razor wire wrapped around them. So they've got razor wire around the poles so that no one can climb up the pole and tag the signs.
Take the camera.
And I'm going, just getting beyond fathoming the society that we've created when we've got it. Can you imagine if I had told my dad, no, Dad, oh, no, we're razor wiring poles because people are going up there and spray painting them.
I haven't seen that here yet, but
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It's only a matter
I mean,
of
you think
time.
they just shoot it? Like, I don't know why you... I mean, there's plenty of guns in LA. Why don't you just
Yeah, I
shoot the
know,
camera out or whatever you need to
whatever.
do?
So anyway, we're making LA a safer place. We're watering the dirt. No, well, not we. They're watering the dirt. And they're putting razor wire around poles
That's
and
great.
making it a safer place. And I don't mean to pick on LA. Well, yes, I do. And,
They'll all come here.
Our traffic is bad, but theirs is just as bad, if not
Was it?
worse.
I haven't been there in a while. So.
And it doesn't matter what time of the day. It really doesn't matter what time of the day.
Really? It's
And
just all day,
here's
bumper to bumper,
here's some good
gridlock.
news for Hawaii. Their gas prices, at least 50 cents a gallon more than us.
Right now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're in the threes, they're
deal.
in the fours. And I was going like, wow.
So are we going back up?
Hope not. But anyway, so we have that. So coming back to this wonderful stuff about Chris and what he did with the airplanes, I've been seeing a lot of stuff now with cars, with the electronics in cars. That
CAN bus.
cameras, they're hacking into the cars and being able to control the cars. And so it just so happened when we were in LA, there was 2 Google cars that got into accidents, the driverless
Really?
ones.
Oh, wow.
So no, there wasn't enough news about it yet on what the cause of the accidents were and whether it was the
Yeah, if
car,
somebody hit them
if someone
or
hit
whatever.
them or whatever. But there was conversation about, I wonder if someone was able to get in and get control of the driving system of the Google car. So
Yeah, you have to attach a device to the vehicle to do that wirelessly.
Right.
So you have to tie into the CAN bus.
right. So back to the
I
canvas.
watched a couple of videos on the guys doing that. I mean, it's pretty interesting, and I think they're going to be at Black Hat USA as well this year presenting that technology because it's. And I mean, now you can buy kits to do it. I mean, as quick as this stuff comes out, people want to play it and learn about it, and so
are
it
buying
starts to
this stuff
proliferate.
like crazy. So now your last trip was another social trip, or was this?
PSA Tech, yeah. And
Which
so and then
is-
I also went up to see the nurse call guys at Rowland Borg. Amazing systems up there, and they're prototyping with 3D printers, and also it was really, really interesting and made in America. So it was really nice to see a clean production floor, to walk through their plant and meet with those folks. Really, really interesting technology out of. They're out of Mount Prospect, Chicago, Illinois.
Illinois. So so Illinois is on the upswing again.
I guess so. I mean, interestingly, the driver took me there, and there's this huge Bosch building. I'm like, I'm not supposed to go to Bosch. And Rowland Borg's around the back, another huge building, but along the main road, it was Bosch, and took up the whole block. And I don't know if they're manufacturing there or not, but this This is a high-end product line recognized around the world. I think they have about 50% of the market share.
Wow.
And made right there in Illinois.
Good, fantastic.
So really good stuff.
Well, it's that time again. I got to do my Lua
Hit the
break.
Lua.
So you
We'll
know,
go.
every 15 minutes I got to go. So anyway, we're going to take a little short break. We'll be back in a minute. We'll go grab Angus off the beach. Apparently he's got something pretty interesting today. So thanks a lot. We'll be back in a minute.
Here's the deal. I'm Jay Fidel. I'm the host of Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, which is the Energy Policy Forum's program on Wednesday. That's how we call Wednesday Energy Wednesday. We call it Energy Wednesday every Wednesday. Are you surprised? Okay, and we try to get guys like Jim Alberts here from Hawaiian Electric who can tell us what's really going on in energy. We want to be informed. It's so important. It's the most important initiative in our state. Clean energy is major, okay? And that's why we cover it on this show. That's the deal. What do you think, Sharon?
I think that's great. That's why we're here every Wednesday from 4 to 5, and we hope you all join us so we can hear people like Jim coming on our show and co-host Ray Starling from Hawaii Energy.
Okay, Jim, you've been here today. You've seen this. You heard what she said. What do you think?
I think it's a tremendous opportunity for people to come together and talk about the issues. Oftentimes, there isn't a good forum to bring these key issues out into the public, and this is a tremendous way to go about it. And the activity of this show is essential to keep talking about energy because, as you said, it's such an essential part of our lives that we need to pay attention to it, and we need to think about the future.
Okay, Ray, your turn.
Well, this is a special time in the history of Hawaii where we're making some pretty radical changes in the way we use energy and generate energy. And this show is the one place you can count on coming to every Wednesday and hearing something about the latest issues that are on the table, being discussed, that will affect us all going forward. So come join us, and if you have some ideas you want to share with us about energy, give us a call and let us know. We'll put you up here and let you talk for an hour. So come see us.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Jim. It's great to be, from ThinkTech's point of view, it's great to have this show. We love the show. It's our most important show. So come around and listen to us 4 to 5 on Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha. Hey, aloha. Welcome back to Hibachi Talk. Gordo's back. Angus is here, and we've got Christine Lanning as well. But first, Angus. Angus, what's up, buddy?
Andrew, how you doing there, lad?
Right,
It's
man.
been a wee while since I saw you.
Yeah, I like
How
your
about
hat.
your trips flying all over the world? I tell you, you're a lucky one, bugger you are. Anyway, Drew, you know, you were talking about security, and I was signing onto a new website the other day that it asked me, it said I needed a password with 8 characters long. So I didn't know 8 characters except Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. That's the only characters I knew. Anyway, that was a kind of an interesting request. I got stuck. I never got to move on to the next page. Anyway, I got a really cool tech segment today. This is a really interesting thing. I think I may have sent Suri a picture to put up on it. This new narcissistic camera, I call it. It's called Lily.
Wow.
Well, what it does is it follows you around and takes pictures of you all day. It films you. Well, not all day. It goes for 20 minutes, but it's very cool. It's like a drone. It's it follows you, and it follows you like when you're riding your bicycle or when you're surfing or doing anything like that. It's got HD video. It has slow motion video. And, you know, it has stills. It's waterproof too. You can throw it in the water. You can even throw it in the ocean and it flies into the salt water. It's really awesome. It's you know, but the only good thing is you better do it in an open area because it has no way of knowing there's a tree in front of it. It would hit it and go down. It would go doom, and that would be it. Now, this has just come out. This has just come out. It's not available yet until the beginning of next year. And it can fly for 15 or 20 minutes. And you can go to www.lily.game. That's a really interesting name, Lily.game. And you know what? I'm not getting any commission on these, so when they put this thing on YouTube, I better get a hold of these guys and give me a discount on the next one. Anyway, they're going to sell it now for $499 up until the end of the year, or maybe it's the end of the month. And you get to then. So that's it. But go ahead. Go check that thing out. It's really kind of cool. They got some neat videos and all that kind of stuff with it. Anyway, this is Angus McTech telling you all, let your wind gang free wherever you be, and aloha.
All right. Wow. Thanks, Angus. So, Lily, huh? Interesting technology if you want to get your sports on and get yourself filmed. You know, I guess you can film yourself with Lily. Go check it out. Gordo's back. I got Christine Lanning in the house as well. How's everybody today?
Aloha.
It's
Hey.
a lovely, ever so lovely Christine Lanning.
Thank
We've been
you.
trying to get you on the show for quite some time.
I know, I've been
She's so
hiding.
busy.
So
I'm
you-
busy. I got
so,
a lot of
so
stuff
you guys
going
are somewhat
on.
related, just in the
We
interest
are.
of full disclosure.
We are, we
Yeah,
are.
So you finally stopped fighting and agreed to come on the show.
That's
That's
right.
the longest argument I think I've
That's
ever
all
seen. So anyway, it's really a pleasure to have you on the
Thank
show. And
you.
you're as president, co-founder of a woman-owned business.
Yep.
Woman-owned business.
That's right.
So and she is your boss.
That's right.
I just love it.
In more ways than I can count.
Yeah, more than you can count. I always say, you know what, boss is spelled backwards, double S-O-B, so be careful on that one. Anyway, we always ask these questions of our guests and when they come on. So give us a little bit of your background. You know, where did you grow up, where you went to school, those kinds of things.
So I actually grew up in Hawaii. I've been here since I was 6. My dad was actually military and he got stationed out here. Prior to that, I was in Iceland, of all places.
Wow.
And so he got stationed out here when I was 6, and every 3 years when it came time to re-up, he actually kept getting restationed here. So I've been here ever since then.
And on Oahu? Or?
On Oahu, local girl, grew up in various places, started out in Wahiawa, went to Helemana Elementary,
Right
if you can
on.
believe that.
Wow.
Spent a number of years there and then ended up in Aliamanu. And then from there, we moved to Aiea, so.
But your accent is different. You
I-
don't sound like one local kind.
I can bring it on if I
Like
have
that.
to. If
Oh,
I have
okay.
to, I can bring it.
Oh, okay. It's going to hang around for this guy.
That's right, that's right.
It's the-
It rubs off on
the
me.
Kentucky rub off.
That's right.
Does she sound Southern? Does she have a little
Yeah, she
twang?
has a
Does she?
little
Oh, I gotta work on that.
Sorry.
So where did you go? Where did you go to university? You went to high school, or where did you go to high school?
So I went to high school at Moanaloa High School.
Oh, you're a public school. girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, love
And
it.
I actually got a district exemption to go there. I was supposed to go to Radford, but my parents were dead set against it. And so I got a district exemption. I played the violin, so they have a big orchestra at Moanaloa High School. And so I did that for a number of years.
I'm aghast. Do you
Yeah.
play the violin?
Barely
Not anymore.
for
How-
many years.
How have we not had you up playing?
Oh,
the
you do
violin?
not want me playing. No, that would be very bad,
You're
very
like
bad.
Jack Benny. It'd be
Oh,
awesome.
it would be horrible.
Oh,
It'd be
terrific.
horrible. Many years have passed since then.
Okay.
So I barely graduated high school and took a number of years off, and then I actually ended up going back to college at Leeward, started at Leeward,
Okay.
continued on at West Oahu, and then from West Oahu I got my bachelor's in business and then continued at HPU.
And what,
White Pacific
So
University.
HBU alum.
HBU.
Yes.
HBU alum.
Yeah.
HBU alum. So there's kind of an
You
I'm
see the
sensing
tie-in.
I'm
You're
sensing
sensing
a
something here.
We gotta get some.
similarity.
We gotta get some HPU people on the show.
We should do that. Yeah, there's some people we know.
Hmm.
So now you got a master's degree from HBU.
I did. So currently when I was going to West Oahu, they didn't have any kind of technological degrees there, and I obviously didn't have a lot of money, didn't have the SAT scores that were required for a good school, so I was kind of forced into a bachelor's in business, and then I just thought, well, I'll continue on to get my master's, and I actually ended up getting it at MS and IS to kind of bridge that gap between technology and business.
So it's interesting. So there's a common two common themes here. One is three. One is all HBU grads.
Mm-hmm.
3, all had great GPAs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just awesome GPAs, and we're all in tech. So
Interesting.
I rest my case. You don't need to be a math major to be in this industry.
That's a fact.
As much as people
Yeah.
would think it.
I took what is it, calculus twice. I tried it first in the summer, accelerate, and I couldn't do it. I had to do it again.
You took it.
Wow.
Calculus tough.
Well,
For me.
Was it when you
You don't need math to do technology. That's
Yeah,
for
was
sure.
it a requirement for your anthropology degree? I mean, but you got into the tech business how? Where? When? What? Why?
So my dad was very much interested in technology. I think I was the first person on my block to actually own it and play with a computer. In fact, the joke is when I was in school, I actually cut quite a lot of school, and I would stay home and play video games all day. And no one understood why I would do that, but it was just so much fun. And back then they didn't have the games they had today. A lot of it was DOS-based and green screen but it was still fun, and that's how I got into tech. And so ever since, and I think I was the only student in my class who actually turned in a report with a dot matrix printer that had been printed out.
Printed
So
out.
it had a little graphic on the front, and it was all typed out really nice. And
Right.
the teacher loved it. She
Yeah.
loved it.
Even though you were dyslexic, and I'm just
No,
kidding.
nobody had to know. Nobody had to
No
know.
one did.
When you got dot matrix printer graphic on the front,
You're
straight A
your
right
first
there.
A.
That's
first A.
right.
And so what was your first computer? What was your evolution in the house? Because your dad brought home.
Yeah, so it was an Apple IIe. We started with an Apple IIe, and then it moved to an Apple IIc, and then that was about the time when the whole IBM versus Apple were at war with each other. And in all reality, we had no choice but to move to IBM type computers, because at that point Apple had stopped making a lot of software, and it wasn't as popular, and so we moved more to the IBM background.
And
so.
they were pushing more to the
x86.
schools,
Yep.
the education side, and they were pushing more to the consumer side.
Yep.
And then IBM, who was Big Blue, still looked at business and looked at the business and looked at the business and pushed that side.
And they had way cooler games.
And it was
Way
sort of
cooler
Packard
games.
Bell, right? Was sort
IBM
of
had way cooler games?
Oh, yeah.
Really? The
Oh,
x86?
Yeah. Yep.
The x86
With
architecture.
graphics and all
I
sorts
never
of
was a
fun stuff.
gamer, so I didn't do all that. I
I
never
mean,
did.
the only game I had was Pong.
Oh, that's
Pong.
so sad.
I know, that's the only game I had. I got hooked on Bandicoot Bandit once, that was, years later. But
To
that's-
this
I'm
day,
afraid, I'm
to this
afraid.
day, when she games, if we bring a game in the house,
Yeah,
she
that's
will
a big no-no.
She will sit with
Very
it
obsessive.
for about, I don't know, 40 hours, 80, whatever it takes, and then, until she masters it. And it doesn't take her that long, but it's amazing to watch how adept she is at that.
So, I'll ask this question, then we'll go on to the subject of this get together. So, what's your favorite game right now?
Clash of Clans.
And
I
see,
play
you
it
do that on your
everywhere.
phone, don't
I
you?
play it
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I tell you, if anyone sends me another request to pay Candy Crush on Facebook, I'm gonna kill you. I'm getting so many of
What
them.
about Clash of Clans?
I haven't got that one yet,
Oh,
and I
boy.
do not want to get hooked on games. I do not.
Don't have
I
time.
know it'll be the death. So anyway, coming back to the subject, so we're talking about how do you making Hawaii a safer place. So what are the kinds of things that you're doing to help make Hawaii a safer place?
So I think just kind of an overall or a bigger picture. I mean, obviously security, in and of itself makes Hawaii a safer place. But I think the bigger picture for me has been just collaboration and sharing stories where people have had incidences where something has occurred and sharing that information with other people. And so they can then kind of live through that experience and know, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that next time, or maybe I need to install this technology next time to prevent this from happening. One of the biggest things I find in physical electronic security is people don't share stories. If something happens, if there's a breach, if somebody robs some bank, or obviously sometimes it's on the news, but if it's not, a lot of people kind of keep that hush-hush. They don't want to talk about it. And so I try to bring more that collaborative approach. We do a lot of lunch and learns at our office, and a lot of people come in and talk about their experiences with the technology and things that they have done to solve certain issues or certain problems. So I think it's just a bigger picture, and I think you could even apply that not just to physical security, but also to cybersecurity. Again, sharing the information and sharing the breaches and sharing the knowledge.
Yeah, well, then you raised an interesting point, because we were having this conversation at one other event. Was that at what point do you disclose you've been
Hacked,
breached or
yeah.
hacked? Right? It's like when it's one, or when it's 100,000. I mean,
Yeah.
because your business will be impacted by whatever the breach is, whether it be a cyber breach or a physical breach.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be that kind of cloud that would hang over your company's head. So it's a real tough one.
And there is a legal liability. You have a legal liability to notify people when there's been a breach for cybersecurity, but not physical security,
Yeah,
which
certain
is
types of
interesting.
information, yeah.
So, but I think that should be shared. I mean, you'd rather the company come out and say this is what occurred, rather than on the back end somebody finding out, posting on Twitter that something occurred and the company didn't say anything or know anything about it.
Yeah, and a lot of these firms actually are finding out they've actually been hacked for quite a while. So a lot of
Didn't
times
know.
they really don't know how much information's gone already. And this is one of the bigger issues that I think industries are having, especially when it comes to disclosure. Like, it's like, wow, when we start to look back and see that someone's been in our network now for 3 months or 4 months or 5 months, how much stuff have they taken? At that point, you've got to just come forward.
Yeah, well, there's the two sides of it, right? If it's credit card information, that's one thing. Then what's the number one?
Healthcare records
right now is
now,
the number
sure.
one. Is the number one record that you get? It's like
$50.
dollars.
Alan was telling us $50, right?
$50 on a healthcare.
Like your credit card info, I think you can sell for like a dime. So they have to get thousands of those. But one healthcare record, $50 because of all
$50.
this.
But is that any different than somebody getting accosted in a parking lot? And maybe it's occurred 3 or 4 times before and no one's done anything about it,
Sure.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, the
in my
physical.
mind, that's kind of similar.
That's true. So and the University of Hawaii's had issues up there, and it's because they've got security guards, but there may or may not be cameras that are in that particular location. And it's not just the cameras, but it's who's there, why are they on campus, why are they on premise, those kinds of things.
Yeah, cameras are scary, I think, because I think they lull people into a sense of security, and the reality is they don't stop anything. You just get to watch the guy either walking away with your goods or beating somebody, in the parking lot.
Right.
It doesn't really
Maybe.
solve or stop anybody from doing anything.
So that's kind of like after the fact. But anyway, we've got to take another short break. and then we'll come back. So hang in here we're with Christine Lanning. She's the president and co-founder of Integrated Security Technologies, talking about things she's doing to help Hawaii be a safer place. We've got Andrew, the security guy. He stayed awake through the show so far. It's been awesome. Anyway, we'll have a quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
This is Alice Lee Hagan, host of ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My show here at ThinkTech Hawaii is every Thursday from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. I bring in interesting guests from Hawaii, the mainland, and hopefully international guests in the future. Do join us on Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. Aloha.
Hi, I'm Ethan Allen. I host Likeable Science on ThinkTech Hawaii, and I do this because I care about science literacy in Hawaii. I want to spread the understanding that science is a vital and interesting part of everyone's life. I want to make sure the broadest possible spectrum of people understand the beauty and the value of science and realize that science plays out each and every day of their lives. I want you to understand that science is fun. So we bring onto this show each week guests who are scientists, from astronomers to zoologists, and we talk about what they do and how they do it. But most importantly, we talk about why you should care about their work, why you should see that their work has value and impact on your life. So I hope you'll join us Fridays, 1 p.m. here on ThinkTech Hawaii. You can watch us via live stream. You can watch us recorded on Olelo, and you can see us each week. We hope you'll join us.
Aloha, how you doing? Welcome back to Hibachi Talk. I'm here with Andrew, the security guy, and Christine Lanning, with the co-founder and president of Integrated Security Technologies, another woman-owned business, and we feature a lot of them over the show. And so, Christine, before we get into the next, carrying on this conversation, we always do this little thing. We're testing Andrew's ability, and it's called "You Got One Text Job." And so we give him a text, and we try to see if he really knows.
Let's see what's on the monitor.
See what it is. So the one we got for him this week is PRW. So, you know, if someone was to, if you think Andrew would know what that text would be, you don't think he would? So really, okay.
Because she knows my past history. I never win.
Okay, so she doesn't think you know this one, dude.
That is, I use that actually in a bullying lecture. So that is, parents are watching. That one I know.
Oh, there
sorry.
you go. Finally,
Oh.
it's
Sorry.
two you got.
Sorry to disappoint.
Nice job.
That was one thing you got right, just one.
Yeah. Well, nice job. Parents are watching, so that's one to remember. And you know, there's a whole bunch out there about, you know, that the young people put on to let their friends know that the parents are in the room and all this kind of stuff.
Sneaky.
Trying to avoid detection.
So here we are coming back to, you know, making Hawaii a safer place. Now, you recently became a member of an organization.
PSA Security Network. So PSA Security Network is a buying hui, it's a buying co-op, so a bunch of owners, security owners, I think it's 132 at the moment, get together to purchase, to have purchasing power for security products.
So you can volume discount.
Right, and so there's, you know, and there's different regions. We're considered a part of the Western region, and they were looking for a Western regional director, and so I was asked by the board if I wanted the position, and I said, sure, and I got the position, and I'm the first woman in the 40 years they've been in business. I'm the first woman board of director.
In 40 years?
In 40 years.
So that,
40 years.
I think that there's a lesson there about the security industry and being in a construction trade. There aren't a lot of woman-owned businesses in this industry.
I want to say less than 10%.
Oh,
Probably
really? Less
than
than
10%.
one, I would say.
And there is a positive to this.
Okay.
There's never a line for the women's restroom. Ever.
At our
It's
shows?
Awesome.
Is that
It's
true?
awesome. Yeah.
Well, remember I was saying when we had gone to a few other trade shows this year, and the women working in the industry was in the 20%, under 30
but women
in the room,
owners.
but owning is still quite a rarity in the security space.
So you know, it's fascinating because women are such nurturing individuals, and you know, we've sort of seeing a trend why women get into tech, because if there's anything nurturing in that side, we're finding the females tend to go along that way. So now 40, how can it be 40 years? That's just amazing.
PSA.
I know, and interestingly enough, I think in physical security, I think people tend to trust women more, and so I think they actually do better in positions of sales or positions of management because people trust them, and it's amazing that there aren't more women.
Yeah, I mean, I'm now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, better to send the senior executive in to do a marketing or sales pitch to a large organization,
Yeah.
because there's that mother factor, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a trust thing. I think a lot of times when you send guys in there, you know, and I think it's difficult too, because I think our industry is very old school, and so there's a lot of people who've been in it for a long time, and I think with that comes, what's the right word? Just they're not, you know, they've been just doing it so long. They're not necessarily hip and cool and talking about all the new technologies. I mean, these are guys who've been in it for 20, 30,
20 years,
40 years.
40 years, like the
And they look like
anthropology
this.
major over here.
Yeah.
So they've been in it a long time and selling the stuff out of the back of their car
Exactly.
and their truck. And if you, yeah, it's true, because if you think about, you know, the various alarm companies that are around the state, and the security companies that are around the state, and I know many of them are trying to elevate themselves into a more cyber view, which is
Right.
a long road to hoe when you're typically blue collar, rolled up sleeves, big blalas standing at the door.
Well, I'll give you a great example. There was one of our competitors, I won't name names or anything, actually was trying to sell a dot matrix printer to print out badges, like access control badges, of which you can't do. I mean, the dot matrix printer is for printer paper, not for badges. And so that's just kind of the level of technology that we're dealing with in our industry.
Yeah.
It needs to come, I think, a long way.
Now, is that unique to Hawaii?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, again, just being in the PSA network, we get an opportunity, a chance to kind of see a lot of different integrators. And there still are a lot of people who are just still selling the same old stuff and really struggling with technology.
Now, in all fairness, PSA has really the larger and more progressive integrators in the nation. So Aronson Security out of the Northwest, Kratos, a huge, you know, global, national a leader in that space. So we have a lot, Tech Systems, Dakota Security. So there's a lot of high-level leadership in that group. So but in their markets, they share with us the level of competition that they have, and that it's fairly low grade.
It's fairly low grade.
When you know, most industries have a couple strong players in the region, and then it very rapidly
So what's
tails off.
pushing it? What's pushing? So I'm making an assumption that the industry's maturing.
Yeah.
Slowly.
And it's slowly. So what's pushing it?
Definitely technology, just new technologies.
And software, I mean,
Yeah.
for sure.
So
Software
it's the technology and
development.
software. So so I'm interested in that answer, because I would thought it would have been more of the cyber attacks, you know, break-ins at airports, you know, people being found in the wheel wells of airplanes and all those kinds of things. But you're saying you think it's really the technology that's pushing it.
I think it's cheap technology. So I'll give you an example. I think cameras used to be very elusive for people. You'd have to call a company and it would cost you thousands of dollars to have a camera installed. Now you can go on Amazon.com and for $150 buy a camera, you plug it in, it goes over your wireless network, and instantaneously you can view video on your cell phone.
Right.
You can watch your dog at home, you can watch the housekeeper clean your house, and that's $150 off of Amazon.com. And so I think a lot of it's being pushed by this do-it-yourself group of people and technology.
And pushing it, but what's not there, and we've talked about this before, is the fact that you leave the old password on your network.
no doubt.
And then next thing you know, someone's jumped on the camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be a big differentiator for physical security companies, is those companies who practice good cyber hygiene and those who don't even know what cyber hygiene means.
I love that word, cyber hygiene.
Right.
So where are you headed? Now, this is kind of an interesting, because you're physical, logical, you have some logical overlays that you do
Sure.
with what you're doing. So where's your company headed? Where do you guys see yourself going?
So we're obviously still functioning very much in that space, prizing ourselves of the new technologies that are coming out. They've got a lot of really cool wireless lock sets that have come out and a lot of really good software that's come out. But in addition to that, again, being able to speak that cyber talk. And so we're starting to see a change and a shift in the people that we hire, having those Cisco certifications, those CISSP certifications, and really promoting that we have good cyber hygiene, that we may not necessarily know how to lock down an entire network, but we can definitely talk the talk and we understand what it means. So
Zuri, I love you. Hashtag cyber hygiene. I love it.
There you go.
It's a great one. I love it. So in a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say the industry is now? You know, from a maturity standpoint, as it's getting more sophisticated with the technologies and such. I mean, I personally think it's probably still around 4.
Yeah, I'm a pessimist. I have to agree with you. There is just a lot of things that still can be improved. I mean, I should be able to just take a panel and throw it up on the wall and program it to do anything I want it to do, but there's still a lot of very separate and disparate systems that don't communicate very well together.
Yeah, I was in interop, and so we're working on some protocols for commonality and communication between devices, OSDP, MIBs. So there's the industry from that perspective is lacking a lot.
Standards.
And the IT world is having a little bit of trouble accepting us because of that, the lack. They don't want to be siloed. They want everything to talk. And so there are manufacturing entities out there that have, it used to be the thing to kind of keep you and have all of your business, right? And the world doesn't want that anymore. And so the physical security world is beginning to adopt some of those standards that make this stuff a little bit more palatable. So no matter what you have, if you're a big company and you got 100 buildings and you buy another company's got 100 buildings, you want all those systems to talk and work. I don't want to have to forklift systems. It's too expensive. So we're headed that way. But I think 4 or 5 is a reasonable. I mean, as technology grows, we're just going to continue to improve.
So yeah, and you've got me thinking, like in a previous life, I forced the IT department to take on physical security as one of their responsibilities. And the IT department, to 100%, were against it. They said, other than putting a badge on the door to the data center, we don't want to be involved. But then we start talking things about Active Directory and all the different things. And so you go, wait a minute. I mean, that's all riding on the systems that IT is responsible for. You better get involved and understand this stuff.
And you want them to be involved. I mean, at the end of the day, you want them to have buy-in for the system so that they're taking care of that back end. It's just another server like anything else.
So are you seeing, I see huge opportunity. If we're at 4 in this industry, what a huge opportunity. Now, are you finding more, how is it to find qualified staff or qualified employees to come into this space?
So that's a little bit of a challenge because not only do they have to have the cyber, security and IT related background, but they also have to be able to run cable and mount devices on the wall. And you know a lot of IT people.
Yeah,
they don't want to get dirty, right?
Well,
I mean,
and some of them don't even know what side of a screwdriver to use. And I don't mean to pick on them because they're excellent on the keyboard.
Yeah.
So
exactly. So it requires both skill sets, I would say, and that's somewhat of a challenge.
Yeah, I think our industry is unique in that we do start the day with tool belts, and ladders. So we have to have OSHA-type safety training for all of our staff. And those same guys, when they're done getting all the hardware installed and then configured and properly terminated, then they've got to take on that software and that database work. So, there's quite a range of skills that are involved in our industry, which make it's good for, upward mobility for those staff that start off doing one thing, but they learn all these skills as they move along and they continue to grow
that's
in
awesome.
the industry.
That's awesome. Well, believe it or not, we have burned through another lunch hour.
Is that
In
it?
no time at all, we have burned through another lunch hour.
Wow.
And even though you're married to this young
I
man
get my
over
own?
here, you're going to get your own autographed solo cup. So he doesn't even have one.
Wow.
So make
I do
sure
not.
you hide it away.
And
so,
this is even more extra special, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, this is the last time that you're going to be having it in this particular
That's
studio.
right. This studio, we're moving to a new studio next week. We're going to do the best of next week because both Andrew and I are traveling again. And then we're going to start a new segment. Who has the best snack mix? We're going to look for this. We're going to do that. We're going to see.
Nice.
We're going to start collecting snack mix from all the different airlines. Anyway, I want to thank Emily and I want to thank Zuri for helping us and Jay for giving
Thanks,
this
Jay.
opportunity to do this. I want to thank all of you for coming and joining us. Follow us on hibachitalk.com. Follow us on Twitter. Please send us anything you have. And again, thanks so much for joining us. And how are you doing?